this is Tony.
This is Paul coming at you from the Friends for Life podcast.
And we're go.
Everybody, thanks for joining us. Sometime me and Paul like to take it back old school.
Yep, we got a discussion that is just me and Tony. We're talking about business, we're talking about life, and most importantly, Friends for Life. So let's dive right into it.
Hey, welcome everybody to Friends for Life podcast. Numero don't know though. So hey,
we're up there.
Yeah, we're not even keeping track anymore. And if you are, then you probably didn't heard this one first, and then the other one that was the beginning last. So don't pay attention to it.
What he said, I have no idea what you just said, but I agree.
Yeah, thank you. That's all I need is agreements. Hey man, first off, I wanted to say thank you for everything that you do.
You're welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, man, Paul is awesome at what he does, from the social media standpoint to everything else. Like, he's great. So
Thanks.
With that, I'm going to lead right into despair, dude. Like, Despair. I was driving down the street coming to the office, and I looked over to the side and I saw something that used to bring me joy as a kid, and it almost made me tearful.
What was that? Empty pizza box?
That would that would be what most people think.
Yeah.
No, it was where Toys R Us used to be.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I used to go to that Toys R Us all the time.
I think it's kind of hard for the people in our age range, and maybe some older, that Toys R Us was like a field trip. Like,
I
dude,
loved it.
When we went to Toys R Us, it was like game on.
But I never could get anything.
Yeah, of course not. I mean,
I always wanted the expensive stuff.
Yeah, so did I. It's like no matter how much you were allowed to get, you always wanted to step up.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. So even when we would shop for other kids and stuff, I would feel like, oh man, it was like that opening of what the possibilities were for the next occasion, quote unquote, that you can get something. Mm-hmm. So even if we went for my cousin's birthday and we got them a gift, I'm looking for myself, like, you know what, his birthday in April, mine's in May. Yeah, I'm gonna have my list together.
I remember getting mad that we would go get stuff for my brother on his birthday. And I'm like, what about me?
Yeah, thank you. What about us? I think that's a song. No, but the part that tripped me out though was, for one, like, just think about the store principle in and of itself. Like, it was self-made. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm still, maybe if I sat back and looked at the numbers and look at their promotioning and different business ventures that they were in, I would understand why they closed, but I just don't get it.
Well, I heard something about this. My understanding is that they were completely opposed to online selling. Like when Amazon came out, they thought they had the corner on that market.
Really?
But they were very wrong, and they weren't competing. There's like a brick and mortar, come to us and browse. But people, I mean, it's a cultural shift. People don't really do that anymore. I mean, they go to the store for groceries, and that's even changing a little bit. But the deliveries and stuff.
Like, you still have to go there to get, well, you don't have to, but it is preferred to go there and let people put the bags in your trunk and go for it. I do have to say that I'm one of those people that I utilize that when I can. And I'm also, honestly, a lot of my meals get delivered straight to my house too. I'm a HelloFresh guy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, dude, it is so awesome to be able to sit there and come up with all these different meals. I mean, it makes you feel like a chef. And if anybody heard me in the past say that, like, that used to be kind of what I wanted to be. So, I mean, I will sit there and I'm thinking like I'm on beat Bobby Flay mode, shout outs to Bobby Flay.
Yeah, dude. I don't have that. I don't do that. I eat a lot of pre-cooked meals that are like, if we make food at home.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like,
yeah,
crock pot kind of thing. Or I just go out and eat something on the go, Chipotle.
Hey, man.
It's like the lifesaver.
What's your top 3 restaurants for, health but filling?
Health but filling.
Yes.
Well, I go to Chipotle quite a bit.
Same here.
Second to that, I guess I would go to Subway, even though it's not really that healthy, I don't think.
It depends on how you order.
And then thirdly, there's not really a great option. Hothead burritos. It's the same thing as Chipotle.
Don't say it's the same thing, and no disrespect to Hothead, but shout outs to Chipotle.
Yeah.
Core Balance has been one of my go-tos, man.
The place is so spicy.
It is. That's why I love it.
Burns out my sinuses.
Yeah. If you're sick, it'll liquidate you. So shout outs to Core. So it's just, I really think that, like, how we were just able to name those places. Mm-hmm. When you think of toy places to go, where do you think of going now? Yeah.
Amazon?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have any kids, but
even if you wanted a damn toy, I mean, now you'll go to Amazon. But,
I mean, I got a room full of toys in here. Yeah. They're all blinking in my face now.
They're all fun. Like,
I got them on Amazon.
Yeah, get it.
Or Costco. Costco.
Well, yeah, Costco and Sam's. I mean, we like to call it Samantha's because it's like my second wife.
Big box stores.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, there is no like toy specific store anymore.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of, disheartening. Like, I think kids personally need to have that go to, like, to be able to walk in and be like, yeah.
But isn't the whole thing now like video games? Like, you take kids to a video game store, or because all the kids have cell phones now, so I mean they're playing games on there.
Yeah, man, and this is nuts. I'm still kind of old school, and this is also how my parents and my family raised me, was still kind of old school like. So the things that people were into in our younger years, I had to, I don't want to say sneak and do, but I couldn't do them as much, because we were still on the old school way of doing it. And that's kind of how I am with my kids. Like, they're into the YouTube. They're trying to come up with their own YouTube channel names and, figure out what they're going to do there. And they're going to do all the things that they can. But there's no, like, one place that I can take them. Like, even when they're playing games and stuff, I don't let them just troll all over and say, yeah, I want to get this, the attachment, this add-on, this, like, no. Like, dude, get a toy that you and your friend next door can go play with together. Because that's what it was for us, action figures. We had X-Men, we had DC Comics, and, comic books. Those are things that we did together. And I get it that the times are changing. You don't have to do that anymore per se, but there's still, like, that disconnect is lost. My kids, the only way they see a toy now is if it's on a YouTube ad.
Yeah, I never thought about that.
Yeah, if it's on a commercial on TV, whatever happened to that, you seeing it and getting overwhelmed, and then your mom or somebody telling you, okay, you can pick one.
Oh, man.
Like, dude, I would rather be in that one aisle and have that selection versus the whole internet having that selection.
It is pretty brutal.
Oh, dude, it's killer.
I spent 45 minutes the other night trying to pick a camera stand. Like, come on. Or a pair of headphones. Like,
oh, man,
it's too many options.
Yeah, way too many. And think about it. If we're overwhelmed, there's no telling how much the kids are going through. Yeah,
it's good to work their brains up that much. They gotta actually use them then.
Yeah. But what's funny about all of that is I led all that up into what kind of the topic, per se of where I want us to go today. But I am hiring a lot of younger people lately. Because it's that age-old conundrum of being, you have to either have experience to work, and you need to work to have experience. Like, how do you do both? You know, when people are 18, 19 years old, it's very difficult for them to even get a car loan because they don't have credit, but yet they need credit.
Yeah. So do you think, are you a person here at Friends for Life to give the chance to the younger guys?
Yeah. I think more than often. And okay. I'm not going to lie, it's bitten me in the ass sometimes.
Well, I mean, when you were young, how much experience did you have, and how much stupid stuff did you do?
Well, it's crazy because in this field, I was blessed enough to have more experience than most.
Yeah.
You know, due to all of the Special Olympics work and stuff that I did, my uncle being afflicted with intellectual delay, and just me being around a whole bunch of mentally ill people who they didn't even know that they were mentally ill.
Yeah.
So I had a lot. And then even when I started working professionally for Burger King at the time, I got to see that quote unquote normal people had to be diagnosed somewhere in life, because there's no way you tell me you want a Whopper with no cheese and then I give you a Whopper with no cheese and you say, hey, I want extra cheese on this. Like, no, I literally heard you and I repeated it back to you.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I haven't had to hire anybody, but I see kind of at the place where I work, there's a lot more. The older people can't handle the new technology and the new ways. Like, the older people that have done things for a while aren't as efficient, I would say. They don't know the full potential that computers and programs have to like be more effective and efficient.
I've seen that.
And I think it slows down a lot of progress in the fast-paced world that I work in. So the younger people are aware of that. Like, when you're having to train somebody on how to do control paste on a keyboard versus like you hire a 20-year-old, 22-year-old, 23-year-old fresh out of college.
Right.
They pick it up real fast because they've already been doing the technology. So I don't know. I think it's kind of a trade-off, but we're definitely in separate fields by a long shot.
Well, yeah and nay. What you do professionally, and let me rewind. I think all generations have that gap somewhere in there, and it takes for each one of those generations to go ahead and make the sacrifice to learn more and get better at it. So that's what I think about that. The second part of us being in different fields and everything, yes and no, because I really feel like every business is wired the same. There are 3 basic principles in every business. You know, sell, / or collect, provide service and or a product, customer service.
Yeah, that's the hardest one.
That's definitely the hardest one. But I mean, those are the 3 main principles of any business. And if you can master 2 out of the 3, you can find somebody to help you with the 3rd.
And well, no 3 of those principles are easy by any standard. I mean, selling, for the work that I do outside of my day job, it's hard to sell things because when you first start out, a lot of this stuff you're doing for friends of friends, and you don't want to. Yeah, it's hard to find that price point that you're comfortable asking people for, because it's like, it's not just Joe at Walmart. Yeah. Like, I don't care what I charge him because I don't know him. But when you don't want to like scare them away with a price. But at the same time, I just took on a job. It was a 6-hour shoot, and then I've been editing for probably close to 8, and I definitely should have charged way more. Right. But it was from a friend of a friend, and I didn't want to put a weird tension on the relationship. But at the same time, like, I'm definitely losing money for the time I've spent. So, like, it's going to have to be a conversation moving forward, because they want more work now of, okay, I didn't realize how many hours I'd have to put into this. It's going to need to be a little higher. So That's a hard thing to do. That's a hard lesson to learn.
It is. And not only is it a hard lesson, I don't think it's ever a easy answer to it early on.
Do you have that same issue, I guess I would call it, because isn't a lot of your stuff driven by like fixed rates from like what the regulations are and things like that?
Yes, like from when it comes down to how the main company makes money, Friends for Life, we get paid through Medicaid, and those are fixed rates. And unless us as people, we vote in certain politicians that will raise the rates, increase revenue for us, through Medicaid or Medicare, depending on which type of authority people are dealing with and helping. But where the differences, I think, lies are the companies that we have, even some of our guests and, myself, we are able to make profits. Mm-hmm. Now, the profits are not as if we're Jeff Bezos.
Yeah.
Well,
nobody on earth is making that kind of profits besides Jeff Bezos and maybe one or two other people.
Yeah. Him and what's the name are going back and forth for the number one spot every couple of months. It seems every quarter now. Microsoft.
Bill Gates?
Bill Gates. Yeah, they've been back and forth, and that's only because Jeff Bezos went through the divorce. But sorry to hear about that, but he seems to be happy. Shout out to both of those gentlemen. But anyway, those are the type of things that are not easily tracked per se, because you never know when you're going to get that increase until a little while later. Now, honestly, we just got word that we're supposed to have an increase next year. Okay. And a fellow CEO in the field of work that we do actually gave me a call, and we were talking about that. And we have the kind of relationship we can be open to each other about, like, hey, what are you going to do with these extra funds? I'm thinking of a few things, and so on and so forth. And I explained to him, like, because I've made the sacrifice early on with all of the extra things that we've added, I plan on actually that being the pay it forward back to the company. So I don't plan on giving increases in wages. I don't plan on giving increases in too much of anything, just because of the fact that we've already put it out there before we even had it.
Okay.
So like that's kind of a partial look right there. I don't know if I went too far off skew.
Well, no, it's just hard to, like, we have completely different perspectives, because you've already taken that plunge into building the business. Like you have the brick and mortar, I guess you would say, and foundation, and you have a plan in place. Whereas for me, it's more of I'm still figuring out the rough edges, and you file the paperwork, you start trying to get customers, you have your first bad experiences. I had my first bad experience actually right after I filed the LLC paperwork. I had someone come to me, they wanted some work, and I said, and this was a couple years ago, I think it was 2 or 3. And I said, like, hey, they approached me, and I said, okay, I'm going to need, just because I don't know you that well, I'm going to need like a confirmation. I'm going to send you an invoice. We're going to agree, like you're going to sign this as like an agreement, payment upon, like, basically half and half. Like, you pay me a down payment to make sure that you're serious, and I'm not going to show up and waste my time, and then half upon completion of the work. And I sent them the proposal, and they never got back to me. So I'm like, okay. And, you get busy and you forget or whatever. And the day I was supposed to do the work comes around, and they're like, where are you? I was like, you never signed the paperwork. You never got back to me if you wanted to do the job or not. And they're like, well, we're waiting for you. I was like, but you didn't agree to the work. I'm not going to, like, put in all this time and effort. And I don't, honestly, to this day, I still debate in my head, like, was that a bad move on my part, or were they just trying to be shady? I don't know. But I feel, I've talked to other people about that, And they're like, dude, that just happens. Like people like you move on to the next project or you move on to the next thing. And then, you know, you get one bad rap. And I was like super concerned at the time. Like, are they going to spread the word and say I'm terrible and I'm the worst dude on earth?
Yeah.
But like, how do you go against that? Like, well, they didn't live up to their end. What am I supposed to do? So at some point you just have to like zen about it and just like, whatever, it is what it is, you know?
Yeah,
you can't make it. That was my first customer experience service of my own thing. You feel terrible because it's your name on the line. It's your logo
and at
there.
this point, you don't even have enough. I'm sure what you were thinking, that you didn't even have enough background of good experiences to even fight the one bad experience in the LLC and everything else. So, I mean, that is definitely a legitimate unnervingness. I don't even want to say to be scared, but unnervingness.
Well, especially since it was so early on.
Yeah.
Like,
but
one of my first gigs ever.
Honestly, I think it helps to have it earlier than later, because I think the people who have those jacked up moments later don't appreciate as much as the ones who had it in the beginning. Mm-hmm. You know, if you would have had that after you already did 10, 12 other deals, you'd have been like, whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
But that put a spark in you and a nerve in you, like, whoa, let me be cool about this.
Well, and that kind of steers me to a thought. I personally realize how important communication is. I mean, in that situation, we both dropped the ball. They never got me back the proposal. Mm-hmm. If I was being responsible, I probably should have followed up and like, are we doing this or not? But I just distracted. You know, I still had to work my other job. You get busy. And like, you just don't think about things. You throw it in the calendar, like I have a potential thing this day, and you know, whatever. And it's hard. So communication, definitely, I should have followed up maybe. And I still think about that. Like,
it's not a maybe, and you should keep thinking about that, because that's exactly what should happen. Mm-hmm. You should have been, because if it was important enough, I tell you this: if you didn't have your full-time job, you would have been following up.
Oh yeah, if I needed the money from that one, yeah, absolutely.
You know, so that's the difference. And you know, I'm actually kind of mentoring somebody right now who's starting a business. Actually, I got two big people in the process. One of them I actually have a financial stake in, so I'm more looking at them.
You want a third? No.
We'll get there. But the other one is like, I'm mentoring and I'm helping and I'm giving leads and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. But I think the sad part is I still see too much playtime on their end. Yeah. You know, if I see you're still able to go out and play Dungeons and Dragons for hours on the end, and I'm just saying that because I know that game takes a long ass time to play.
I've never played it. I look like I would, but I've never played it.
But like, no disrespect to anybody who plays it, but like, if you have time to do that, you have time to grow your business. Mm-hmm. You know, especially if that's what you're saying that you want to do, and now you went as far as being, you know, all in. And all in means to me is that's your only income. Mm-hmm. Now, if that's your only income, you need to be busting your tail left and right. There should not be any free time. You shouldn't be calling me saying, hey, Tony, you want to do this and that. I don't want to hear that until you have at least 4 or 5 employees.
Yeah, and that you and I talked about this briefly. You said on the last time we had the podcast, you said, like, what's your goal for your business? And I was saying to grow it to the point that I can match what I make at my day job, and that's when I'll take the plunge. That will be my only income. Mm-hmm. But to get to that point, especially in a media field, you have to be good, which, you know, is up for debate on my end. And then you have to have a client base that's going to give you steady work. Mm-hmm. And you have to be a seller, and you have to put yourself out there. And so I'm caught in a cycle, and I'm not saying that I'm saying this as in an excuse kind of way, where I get a job, and then we just talked about this before the podcast started. I get a job, and then I work all day. I come home from work immediately, and then I work on video editing is very time consuming. So I edit video until 9:30 when I go to bed, because I wake up at 5 and go to the gym so I can make sure to get that in too. And then it's just like, where's the time to build that portfolio while you're like, I mean, I guess, you know, and that customer I'm working very close with, I'm saying like, hey, you know, do you like the direction? Is this what you're wanting? And it's very detailed because they're a drum business. They're a bigger entity that I'm used to working with, and I want to make sure I really don't screw it up. Like
right.
My 100% focus is on that project right now. So
right.
It's very, you know, and I understand everybody says the grind, you got to grind, but I've learned recently that if I don't get enough sleep, I still push myself with the motivation to do the work, but the progress just dives. And it's a very, very much so a time management issue rather than a willpower issue. Oh, but it's just like crazy, man. Like weekends, days after work. And that's what I would consider the grind. Like, and there's people that work harder than me, and I'm like, I don't know how you do it. Because I'm like, wow. And I've gotten away from the energy drinks and stuff like that because they really mess my stomach up and they're not good for you. And
well, for one, yeah, that's good. Get away from those damn drinks, man. If you're going to do anything, do some green tea or...
I just coffee it up all day. Black coffee. 0 calories, tons of caffeine, water, black coffee.
As long as you don't get it from certain places, I guess. I don't know. I don't drink too much coffee, you know, like we discussed before, unless we're at the lake.
Only vegan Guatemalan coffie. No, I don't know. I just buy Starbucks, man.
With a touch of green peppermint. No.
Yeah. But that's beside the point. I mean, it's...
No, like, I get 100% what you're saying. And you can't neglect health. And that's one of the key things that I give people, because sleep is a part of health. And I swear,
and I only sleep about 6 to 7 hours a night. If the maximum is like 7 on Saturday or Sunday, I'll let myself just sleep on those days, just till when I wake up, just to kind of, you know, get a little bit caught up. But on a normal weekday, I would say at the lower end, I get about 4.5 to 5. And on the higher end, I get closer to 7, 6.5 is my average is about 5.5 to 6.
You know, it's funny, man. I get less sleep during the weekend than I do the week, because when it comes
5 kids.
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess that's numero uno. But by the time it comes to the weekend, like, I tell myself I want to sleep in, I want to stay in, but I'm so used to getting up so early throughout the week. I get up earlier expecting to have to do what I have to do.
Mm-hmm. Well, by sleep in, I mean like 7.
Yeah,
I'm not sleeping until noon. Like, I'm getting 8 hours.
Yeah, that's definitely. I feel you right there. Like, I would get up at like 6:30 and be like, "Oh my goodness, whoa, what's going on?" And I'll sit down, and that'll probably be my moment of entertainment, relax. You know, I do treat the weekends as, you know, we've discussed before some of my you know, routines throughout the morning and the day and stuff that I do for not only myself but the business and my family. But the weekends are more, because I am a sports buff. Now, I have to tell a lot of people I don't watch sports like I used to because the anxiety.
I don't watch them at all. I don't even know the rules of football besides they score points and they kick the ball and they tackle each other.
That's all you really need to know. Just choose a color and a team.
Yeah,
it's almost like gangs.
Yeah.
But
yell at your friends about it.
Yeah, pretty much. But my anxiety, like I'm telling you, dude, it was just getting so much because I was so into it. Like, we just had the O State and Michigan game. And
yeah, I saw you crying.
Yeah, tears of like
pure sadness.
All the way sadness. Like, I only watched like barely the first quarter.
Yeah.
Like, I because I couldn't do it. It was just too much anxiety for me. And I would rather have my anxiety spent on something that I can control and build. Like, I don't mind coming to the office and going through a whole bunch of anxiety, trying to figure out profit ranges, SKU reports, looking at what we're doing for clients and so on and so forth, versus me looking at something I have zero control over. None. And I've done all the stereotypical things of, what do they call that? When you believe in something that doesn't actually exist.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, goodness, dude. Like, we're having a brain fart right now. But I've changed socks. I've wore different jerseys.
Superstitious.
Superstitious. Thank you. Like, goodness, I don't know how I couldn't get that. Come on, people, do better. But
Stevie Wonder.
Right?
You need your call out. What is it? Was that game show?
My Phone a Friend?
My Phone a Friend, yeah. Call Stevie Wonder. What's that song? Oh, Superstition. Gotcha.
Very superstitious.
Yeah, that one.
Oh, man, Stevie would be so mad. Shout outs to Stevie, man. I always loved him.
Great musician.
Awesome. Oh, we got to talk to John about him when we go see him. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to see John Grant.
Again?
Yes.
We're going to him this time.
Yes, and we're going to have him playing all of the best moves.
Yeah.
But anyway.
I like that. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you ever burn out for real?
Yeah. And actually, this month has been it for me.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if it's because of the time of year.
It is dark. It gets dark at like 4:30.
Yeah, but I haven't always been that way. Depending on when you're listening to this, ladies and gentlemen, this is around November and December times. And not only with that, I was just like crucially sick with the flu not too long ago, and I have not been able to really jump back in the process as strong as I want to. Along with that, my house has been sick. Like, I got kids who have sniffles everywhere. My wife, she's had her things. We've had different changes in schedules and stuff. So along with that, all of my employees have their own lives.
Yep.
We're still expanding and growing. So there's so many different things that we're building upon. I literally sometime I wake up, even if I go to the gym, I sometimes don't give it 100%. I just go through the motions just so I can say that I did it.
Yeah.
And I come back home and go to sleep. And depending on if I have a meeting or something that day, I'll go take care of that. But if I can Skype something, I'll Skype it. And again, I don't really know. I've never been affected by the weather like this before. But my life has changed so dramatically from where it used to be that it's like my body's almost telling me, like, dude, just sleep and relax. But I'm scared. I don't want to fall asleep and never wake up. And I know that's the first F-bomb that y'all ever heard on FFL. On the podcast, but
we'll bleep it out.
Yeah, we'll bleep it out. But I'm so true about that. Like I told my wife the other day, I was like, I just don't feel like me right now.
Mm-hmm. Burnout's rough, man, because it's like, I think it's a culmination of pushing yourself, doing a ton of work, and then just being very tired from the culmination of it. And like, it's not the same thing as like people say writer's block or maybe it is the same thing. I don't know, but people get in these things where you just get in a slump because you just do so much and you have such high standards for the things you want to get done. And like, it's just, you just push yourself to a limit that you just need a break, and it's hard. But once I think it's more important now for me anyway, to steadily continue to work rather than do these big pushes of like excessive work and then burn out and get nothing done. Yeah. Excessive work. I personally think it's better for me to just continuously, so do an hour a day, 2 hours a day of something that you're working on. And if you have multiple projects, break it up 2-3 hours. Then doing this big giant all-nighter push to get this video done or whatever you're working on, get a report finished.
Right.
Versus, because, I mean, unless your customer needs it like ASAP or your employees need it ASAP, you're the only one making these things up in your head most of the time. Yeah. So, like, nobody really cares. I mean, for me, the client that I just did this work for said, no rush. But I mean, I don't want to take forever just because I can. That's not good business. I want to have it to them in a timely manner. So at the same time, I'm putting in a few hours a night, but I'm not working myself till 1 a.m. You know, I'll give myself 9 to 10 to just kind of like dial back before I go to sleep.
Right.
But I'll go from 5:30 till 9, 6 to 9, and give it that time.
Gonzalez, go.
Yeah, just do as much work as you can in that time frame. And, you know, there'll be people that disagree with me, but whatever. Do whatever works for you.
Well, I mean, that's getting out of your comfort zone, you know, and you have to do that. If you don't go that route, you will. I've done it too many times myself. You know, there are certain things that I hate doing, and I don't think this is my first time saying it, but I hate writing checks. Like, oh my God, I hate writing checks. Like, it's not even the point of the money being spent. It's just I don't like to write it out.
Yeah.
Like, I would so rather, if I could just go click.
Is it just a CEO thing? You have to do it?
Yeah.
That sucks.
You know, I mean, I can delegate somebody to it, but I think any CEO and anybody, you say you want to own your own business, quote unquote, you want to run stuff, know where your money's going. Because if you got somebody else writing your checks, you're not going to know where your money's going. So, now that service announcement is...
Well, you know what's funny is, so I have been getting more work, and it's not like continually steady all the time. Like some months I get more work than I know what to do with. Other months I get, you know, a little bit, and it just depends on who needs what. But I've gotten to the point where it's actually worth more to me to pay somebody else to do the stuff I don't want to do, like edit. Or,
yes,
not that I don't enjoy editing. It's just, it's so time consuming. But a problem I'm running into is A, I don't know that many people who want to do it. And B, the people I want to do it are also busy. So I'm offering to pay them a pretty decent portion of the money I made doing the work to take that off my hands. And they're even like, I don't have time to do this. So it's like, I'm fully stuck in it until I can find somebody. You know, I'm not making millions of dollars here, but
you don't need to. And honestly, what it's going to come down to is, to me, I think you should go the route of finding a prepubescent person.
Well, and I could do that, and I could train them how to edit, but then I have to worry about if I have a deadline and they don't get it done, then I'm even more in trouble. So I have to hound them, and I don't, you know, I know what you're saying. I get it.
Because, I mean, you already know when it comes down to being ahead of something, yeah, you're always going to be held liable for it.
Mm-hmm. Well, even to get the majority of the work done, the what I would call bulk edit, just to get it ballparked close enough. Mm-hmm. I definitely would, regardless of who I had edited it, I would always put the final say or touches on it, you know, because it's me handing it over to the person I did it for. It's my name going on it. So I definitely could outsource that. But, you know, it just is like, you know, though, people have unrealistic expectations of what they want to be paid.
Right.
Because, like, okay, say I filmed this thing for 3.5 hours and I made $300 filming it. And this person wants $150 to edit it. Like, that's half the money. And I stood there for 3.5 hours and did all of the work that it took to, like, and the 4 hours it took to organize it. And I took the funds to buy the equipment to film it. Like, it's just not realistic for a one-off gig versus, you know, if I could pay someone $50, $75 to do this bulk edit for me, that's more reasonable. If you want half of the profit, but you're only doing a quarter of the work that I put into it, it's just not realistic at this point in time.
Yeah, and that is the biggest problem, because people they've done for the longest what I tell people not to do. They get a main job and then they tiptoe somewhere else, you know, and it's not even a tiptoe in which they're trying to really progress in. Because let's just say, for instance, I'm working in, I'm a mechanical engineer, I'm working, but you know, I love photography too. I like to do that on the side. So I come to you and you give me those exact prices. You say, hey, I did this for $300. I need you to edit this for $50 for me. Well, no, you did it for $300. I need at least $150, you know, like 50-50 partners or something. That right there, I believe, if I could put a name on it, I would call it the ignorance of expectations.
Mm-hmm. Well, it would be to that end. If you went out there with me and helped me film it,
exactly,
and then helped me edit it also, and we worked together, yeah, half is fair. Because the process out there running 4 cameras at once and honestly, all the audio is brutal.
I still don't even believe that half is fair.
Yeah.
Because who brought the business? Did they go out there and get the business? Mm-hmm. You brought the business. Your name brought the business. Your company brought the business. The half and half still isn't fair.
Well, and that's all part of my growing pains with it. I mean, from when I started with zero anything until now, it's grown. I mean, right. It's not. It hasn't like exploded, but it's definitely a learning curve. And like I said, the pricing thing is hard to learn. It's just like, and part of it I think is incremental. Like if you push the price up each time to see what people are willing to pay, and you finally get to that, you finally find that threshold where they're like, I don't know, I'm still working on that. So I'm even still like at a base level of what is the most I could charge fairly that someone would still be willing to pay for the product.
Lose fair. And this is hard for me to say in the business that I'm in, because like we've discussed earlier, we're kind of at a cap with the government and everything else. I guess the best thing I can do from here on out is start protesting and having picket fences and all of that stuff. But when it comes down to the business that I assist with, goods and services, you are going to be paid in reflection to what you're worth. Mm-hmm. So if you're good enough at it, you're going to get paid for it.
Yep.
You know, screw what 1 or 2 or 3 people might say. You might have to actually hear what 4, 5, and 6 and 7 people might say. Mm-hmm. You know, most businesses and anything that you do entrepreneurship wise, kind of the first people you go to are the people that you know. Mm-hmm. And the people that you know are going to want to get the best deal. Mm-hmm. Once they get that best deal, they'll tell a friend, and then guess what? They're going to tell that friend, hey, he'll do it, and he go do it for the cheap. You know, so now you obligated to give them the best deal. Mm-hmm. You know, then it's like a revolving door. And at some point that door has to close for the escalator to open up of true business.
Yeah, and that's, you know, I work in business. I see what a markup is on a product. Like, it's insane. It's like 500%. You know?
Easy.
So...
You know why, right? Because they got to pay all of y'all.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I'm not against that at all.
No. Oh, yeah.
Can you make a product? Could you make a pair of headphones?
Oh, boy.
No. I don't know how to make headphones. That's why I'll pay for them.
I kind of do. I can take a string and a cup.
Yeah.
And we pull this real tight.
And then, you know, I mean, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm lucky to have you as like an advisor almost in ways.
Thank you.
It's people just think businesses are just this thing that happened because like, oh, he's just good at that. Like, there's so much that goes into it, and it's your butt on the line
every time,
and it's always a battle. It's not like there's no like A, B. Like, okay, so you did get the work, and then but what do you do if they say this is absolute crap and I don't want it now? Like, you just ate that cost and those hours you put into it. I mean,
and at the head, that's the crazy part, man. I actually got a phone call the other day. Of somebody that I was supposed to be speaking with while the time that I was sick. And, you know, I explained to her I couldn't talk. It was terrible. And it was some stuff that happened in the company and some things that needed to be taken care of. And no matter how much I tell people, that all your screw ups, I apologize for it personally.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think people understand it because I'm sitting here talking to a very high up official in the Lucas County Board of DD, and I'm explaining to her, you know, I understand the issue. I am so sorry. I apologize. This is my fault. I'm going to fix it. We're going to move on and make sure things happen appropriately. If you are the type of person who never can say it's my fault, I did wrong, for somebody else, you are not ready to be a boss.
Well, yeah, I mean, you lose the freedom. You gain the freedom of being your own boss, but you lose the freedom in that everyone that you service is now your boss, in a way.
Yes.
So it's very. It's tough. It's not as easy as like. You know, I never thought.
Actually,
I always
other
thought,
than tough, it's ironic.
Yeah, it's very ironic. But I always thought, and I never have considered myself to be a quote unquote entrepreneur, but I don't, because I just do what I really like to do, which is basically what we're doing now. Mm-hmm. I like music, I like video, I like the outdoors, and I just try and do what I can to capitalize on that market by the skills that I have. So like, to me, it's just natural. Like, I'm already filming everything and talking about everything always. And I've always been huge into branding. Like, I literally only wear this hat because it has my logo on it.
I noticed that.
Always. Every day, all the time.
Shouts out to, man, show it to the camera.
Yeah. I got these hats custom made. I've sold some. Like, I just do everything I can to capitalize on, like, the name and everything associated with it. And that's just natural for me. Like, I couldn't think of doing it any other way. Like, right. I couldn't think of wearing another hat. Like, that's just what I like. That it's like a calling card, you know. Like,
right.
So I just live. It's like part of my lifestyle. Like, I go out and do stuff. I film it. And you know, like, and that's where I don't have the term entrepreneur. But at the same time, I do try and profit off of it, not in like a selfish way, but like, if you do the things you like, you should try and make a little bit of money off of them.
And not even a little. You should make a lot. And it's not. And that's the thing that scares me, is that people think that making a lot of money is a bad thing, or pushing to make a lot of money is a bad thing. It's not bad at all. I grew up impoverished, man.
Well, I know so many people who don't think that you should do anything to make any money off of what you like. One of my buddies is like amazing with everything he does, but he's like, he won't put him out there. I was like, you could make so much money doing the things you're doing because I go to you for them because I can't do any of this. You're right. Super good at it. And like, I always say the example is like, I'm not even that good, but I'm the only person I know who does what I do. So if people need that service, I'm the only one doing it.
Yeah. You're open to it.
How many people do you know that film and record podcasts?
Yeah.
He's right here.
Yep.
Like, I mean, maybe one or two more. I don't know, but I don't.
I've seen more, but nah, I'd rather stick with this guy.
Yeah. Good call. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm just kind of like, I'm in this weird growing stage where like, I want to make it bigger. I'm trying to actively get more clients currently. And at the same time, I'm like, if I get more work, I'm not going to have any time to do anything, but at the same time, that's what I want so that I can grow it to get to the point where that's all I do. It's a weird conundrum.
It is. And if I could offer any advice, it would be to step back and do only 2 or 3 things.
Yeah, that's all I do.
And
currently, I just do my job. I do what we do, and I do what I do for my own business. That's it. I mean, I like play music occasionally, but that's not like something I dedicate a ton of time to. It's just
to break yourself free.
Let my mullet hang out. No,
Yeah.
no. I mean,
flow.
I've dropped a lot of things that I don't feel are as important as they used to be.
Good.
To focus on strictly growing the business, and not in the sense of like corporate have a vision of corporation size. I just would like to have a business that I can do what I like all the time.
Good.
To start.
Okay.
Myself doesn't let things just stay stable like that.
That's perfect. Because the next part I was going to say is that after you have those 3, drop the one that is least to your productive needs of being you.
Yeah.
Which we all know what that really is. So,
working a normal job.
Yeah.
Well, at this point, it's not even an end goal. It's just it's inevitable.
It's inevitable
because
but
I can't stop.
The reason it hasn't happened is because you have real life. Mm-hmm. You have real life going on. You have bills to pay. Absolutely. You have a wife to feed, a hug, kiss, and listen to. Mm-hmm. You have other ventures that you need to finance through the other 2, or at least you know your personal one.
You get in the startup phase. I mean, we're sitting on like $4,000 of equipment right here. Easy. Partially invested for you, me, all the way around. I mean, we share the equipment all the time, but like audio and digital video, anything in that realm is not cheap.
Not at all. People, if you're watching on social media and see these mics,
aren't you glad you got the nice ones though?
Dude, I am. Like,
do you ever feel bad when you don't buy the crappy version?
No. And that's one of the things about my wife. She would prefer to have me buy like the cheap things here. I've never been that guy. I would rather spend $250 on a pair of shoes that I know are going to look really good. And not to get confused with tennis shoes, people. I'm not about to run around in $250 tennis shoes anymore. I've grown out of that stage.
You're wearing loafers right now.
Yeah, I am. And they're only like, these are on like $45 Kohl's loafers. But I got a $250 pair of Kohans that I will wear. And they are, shout outs to Kohans.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, it's a nice shoe. Oh, man, it's a nice shoe.
You paid as much for your shoes as I paid for some of my cameras.
Well, you can take pictures of them.
Nah, I'm good.
But you want to hear something funny? What pissed me off is like, I swear, after I bought them, I go down to Florida, and we're going through some what do they call those big malls that like the outlet malls, outlet joints, and dude, some of the same pairs of shoes, rough $90, $70, $80.
Wow.
Compared to 200 something that I purchased. The only thing that was different was because the sole of them was a little bit different. That's why I didn't feel too bad. But at the same time, I was like,
sounds like you got that price.
Yeah, man.
That upcharge from buying out of the shoe store versus the outlet.
Dude, I'm telling you, my entrepreneurial mind got to thinking. I'm like, I come down here with a U-Haul and clean up, come back, show to every store, upscale store that I go to, cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching.
Or your buddies. Or your friends, eBay.
Yeah, not too many of them purchase the same amount. I will say, out of the most people I hang around, I am still in that mindset sometimes that like I like to buy expensive, stupid stuff. Only when it comes to clothes.
I do that with equipment, camera equipment.
I've noticed.
I couldn't pass up the sale on that other GoPro.
Like, we needed it, but I bet you look clean.
It looks good. I can attest. I'm a big fan. Man. But, but you also can't not invest in your business if you're building it. I mean,
definitely.
As you're going to watch this podcast and it's going to grow and listen to it over time, I mean, the quality is going to go up because we're going to be investing more and more money and time into the cameras and equipment. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's what it takes to be professional. You can't go out there to an extent, you can't go out there with crap and hope to make it amazing. Now, the skill, same with business, same with anything. The skill is very important. If you can't film something looking decent or sounding decent or overall have a good skill on something crappy, then you definitely can't do it on something good.
Right. And you have to expand your skills. Like if you have crappy equipment or if you don't have the best media outlet, you need to be able to have something that draws the crowd in. Like the first YouTube kitty scene was probably filmed on a 220p something.
Well, how many videos out there, just crappy, shaky cell phone videos, are getting millions of views, while highly produced stuff out there's getting, you know, minimal. Like somebody's probably looking at this and got 146 views versus some baby puking in somebody's mouth getting 10 million. But I mean, and that all has to do. Those are different concepts and different angles to look at. But I mean, my concept has always been like, the stuff I had when I started was so bad,
right? And
I had to learn and work very hard to make it seem okay. But now, as my equipment gets better over time, still not to say I have the best equipment on earth, but as it grows and as it gets better, my life is so much easier because I don't have to think about how to things should be. Like I understand all the settings now because I had to learn them on the crappy stuff, and I had to do more after work to make it sound and look and do better. But now that you have nicer equipment, those nicer cameras are doing the work for you, and you don't have to put as much effort into the. You get it.
You know, and that's so funny because that also correlates into what we do here at Friends for Life. If you really put in the amount of work and dedication in the very beginning, and you continue to grow and push and move and go, you will eventually get to that point where it's going to be second nature to you. You know, in the field of work that we're in, we're all about communication, we're all about dedication, and we're all about preparation. If you give those three things, your day should be pretty easy breezy. You know, even a hard day, you will know how to handle. So it goes full circle, I think, all the way around.
Yeah, I mean, you always have to put in the time. You will never, ever be good at anything if you didn't put in so much time.
Yeah. So I guess ending to everybody, put in time, put in the work, put in everything that you believe that you want to be. Stop lying to yourself. Stop lying to everybody else that you want to be a millionaire, billionaire, trillionaire. I can't stand when people throw out all those big numbers. Like, how much you make this year? 23,000. Like, and I don't want to sound cruel about that. Like, I understand. I've been there where I've only made under $30,000 a year with a family. Like, that is real. I get it. But don't say that you want more if you're not going to give more. Don't expect more if you're not going to give more. Expect less, give more, and you will earn more. So
yeah, I agree with that. You gotta put in the time, you gotta put in the effort, you have to go the extra mile. Or I mean, you're just settling for mediocrity, and nobody wants mediocrity, man. Yeah. I tell you, people want polished, beautiful, and it proves itself when the proof is in the pudding when you do the work.
The proof is in the pudding. I like it.
On that note, I'm very hungry.
And you both.
Everybody, thanks for watching the Friends for Life podcast on YouTube.
If you can, head over to our social media channels and give us a follow. We are on all of them that exist that we're aware of at this point in time. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below. And if you can, head over to iTunes or Stitcher and leave us a rating or review to help us grow the podcast. Tony, send them off.
Later.